Welcome back to the So Far So Good podcast. My name is Christopher Coombs.
And my name is Gaurav Khazanchi. Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you guys once again for tuning in on this beautiful day that you are listening. It's good to hear your smiling faces, see your smiling voices. So as usual, we will kick it off with our introductory questions. Now, I'll ask mine first to you because it's a little bit of a follow-on from last week's episode.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
last week we were talking about buying products on Facebook Marketplace and other things. I talked about my selling experience as well. So my question to you is, have you ever sold anything on Facebook Marketplace or any of the online marketplaces?
I have. As a gift, I got a double up of a PS4 game, The Witcher 3. So I went to sell the extra copy on Marketplace.
Ah, good game, actually.
Yeah. Have you played it?
No.
Just going with the flow. But it is a very good game. Very long game. Good series based off the books and whatnot. Besides the point. So I put it up on Marketplace. A guy commented saying, yes, I will buy this. And he just said, can you meet me at this shopping centre? And I was like, yeah, sure.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's already
I feel
weird.
like people do it for like safety reasons. You know, they don't want to go to someone's house or have someone come to their house. So I was like, yeah, sure, man. It wasn't too far. It was like a 5-minute drive. So I went there, and then I realized the guy didn't tell me like what he looked like or what he was going to wear. I had no idea what he looked like. So I took a wild guess, and I just walked up to the guy sitting on the bench because he kind of looked like what the name would be. And I was like, yo, are you so-and-so? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, sweet. Here's your game. And then he just gave me the cash. And it was a very easy deal, but it was very weird at the same time.
That's strange. It kind of reminds me of like an olden day movie where there was no phones, no nothing, so you had to just try and figure things out.
Yeah.
You know,
like one of those old spy movies.
Yeah,
and you're like the suspect will be wearing a hat or something like that.
Yeah. Or back in the day when there was
Absolutely
no maps or GPSs, you just kind of had to figure out your way. Could you imagine that nowadays? The kids that grow up nowadays, they rely on those GPSs.
Yeah, I think about it almost every time I use a GPS. Like, if I wasn't using one, I'd probably have no idea what I was doing. Absolutely no idea.
Or you'd look at it like on a map, and then you'd kind of write down your directions. So turn left at this street, turn right at that street.
Yeah.
And then, but what if you accidentally miss the turn? Then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, how far did I go? Where have I missed it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the automatic rerouting thing on a GPS is amazing. It's the best thing in the world.
Oh, and I've got to say, just on that, I'm not sponsored by anyone, but Google Maps is just by far superior to any GPS system out there. So, like, even like people pay hundreds of dollars for like a Navman, which they just hook up to their car, and it does the mapping and whatnot. They're absolute rubbish. And then I've also used Apple Maps before.
Yep.
And it took me to the completely wrong street to where I was meant to be. But
I have used Apple Maps as well, and it's just, I totally agree with that.
Apple Maps doesn't have every street loaded, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's why. So it puts you to somewhere potentially nearby. I don't know. But I've had too many issues with them. I don't even have an iPhone. I think I was using a friend's. I think a friend was mapping it out for me at the time. But with Google Maps, I've just never had an issue with getting to a location. If there was ever an issue, it was my fault for like missing a turn or a complicated road or something. Yeah, so exactly. I completely advocate for Google Maps, 100%.
Yep, 100% agree. Google Maps for the win. Now, on a completely unrelated question, unrelated to last episode, I've been reading a lot of stories. I don't know, they're popping up a lot now, of people randomly finding bags of money, which is, it's most likely drug money or black money, just not legal money. So they find bags of money, let's say $1 million, and then they turn it in and it becomes this whole news article. Now, my question to you...
Yeah, okay. Are you saying that this has happened recently?
Yeah, there's at least 3 articles I've read around the world in the recent times, in the last 2-3 weeks, where people have found money and turned it in.
Okay.
So, you probably know what the question is, but really, really think about it. if you found, let's say, $1 million in a bag just at the ATM, and then it's pretty much like most likely drug money or illegal money, what are you going to do with it?
Well, easy first thing what I would do is I would look around to see if there's any CCTV.
Yeah.
Because if there's CCTV, I am not taking that home.
Yeah.
If there's cameras, yeah, obviously 100% I am turning that into the police because I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
If there's no cameras, that's such a tough decision, man. It really is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a tough one. I'd probably still turn it into the cops, but I would maybe take a little bit of it that's unnoticeable.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I came to the same conclusion. Like, if it was safe, and I was like, you know what? There should be like a finder's reward, you know? So I'll keep 500k and I'll hand in 500k, do my good to the community.
500k? Really?
No, half, 50-50 split.
Like, you would actually do that in an actual situation?
Okay, maybe not legit half, but I will maybe take some. Do you know, as a finder's
How much
fee,
do you reckon?
A finder's
I was thinking maybe 20 to 50,000, only because that's pretty, like, it's not really noticeable in the grand scheme of a million.
But you also want to take enough or as little to make it not look like you took any. See, if I handed in 500k, took 500k, it's pretty easy to, you know, accept the fact that there was only 500k in the bag. If I take 20k and there's $980,000 in there, they can be like, it's a bit fishy that there's $980,000.
That's a good point, actually.
20? You know,
that's a good point.
I think 50% is safe for everyone.
But what if they somehow track down the people who were actually meant to get the money, bring them in for questioning, don't mention how much was in there, and then, you know, they admit that, okay, there was $1 million. And then the cops go, oh, hang on, why did we only get 500,000 in the bag then? And then, boom, they track you down, search your house, find the money. So
it is a bit risky, but...
Because at the same time, if you take 20k and they find $20,000 of cash in your house, that's not that unrealistic to someone just hoarding cash in their house.
That's true.
Someone's not going to hoard 500k, but they may hoard 20k.
20k, yeah. Well, look,
but you're right. It would be weird if they get a bag of 980,000. That would be strange.
There would be. So yeah, this is why I'm most likely saying it's obviously illegal money, because if it's illegal money, I'm not really going to feel bad taking it. But if it's genuine money, let's say it was left by the money filler up people that fill up the ATMs. Then I'm not going to take it. I'm going to hand it in because,
100%.
That's honest money. But if it's not honest money, I don't know. It's just one of those things you'd have to be in the situation to actually know what you do.
I think we're saying all this now, but I think if it actually happened, we'd probably freak out and just give it to the police.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like it would be a different scenario when you're actually in it.
Yeah.
But if I were to say right now, I would probably... Yeah, I would still stick with 20 to 50k. I would take, stash it somewhere, and then wait maybe 6 months for the whole situation to cool off, and then decide what to do with it.
And then start spending or not spending, Yeah.
Somehow get it into my bank account.
Yeah, start laundering it somehow.
Anyway, just so you guys know, we do not condone any illegal practices. This is just a hypothetical question, and a non-fictional question as well. So.
Yeah, exactly right. 2 in 1.
So far so good. And without further ado, let's get into it.
So far, so good.
All right. Thank you guys once again for tuning into the So Far So Good podcast. As usual, we will not muck around, dance around whatsoever. We'll get straight into it. So I am hitting you up now with a bit of an update on
yes.
a highly requested update, actually.
Okay,
from a couple
I'm
of
excited.
listeners. So now, you guys would have all remembered from a previous episode that I had a friend named Lloyd.
Yep.
And he was on a bit of a dating mission. So he's a single guy. He was out on the prowl, as they say. And he'd been on a couple of dates. And essentially, I'll give you a quick rundown. So he was chatting to one girl, and basically we spoke about him taking her to dinner and then a movie. And
For the first date.
For the first date, that's right. And then after that, they never talked again because there wasn't a spark.
I mean, it's a quick start, middle, and end story. It's not.
No, look, there wasn't a spark, so that's the reason they didn't talk again or whatever. But what we're trying to say, like, we discussed whether that was a good first date or not. Then I brought up the idea of holy moly being the ultimate date.
Yeah.
The reason for that is you can interact with each other, you can talk, you're playing a game so you're not constantly staring at each other. You're also not at a movie where you're not even interacting with each other. Yep. So you get to show your personality, you get to meet the other person's personality, and all round, as the love guru myself, it is the perfect date. So
you pick a new title for yourself each episode.
So as Lloyd, being a smart guy, he listened to the love guru, and he took the girl to Holy Moly.
Wait, is this the same girl or a new girl?
This is girl number 2.
Okay.
So girl number 1 was dinner and movie. They never talked again. Yep. Girl number 2, he listened to the love guru and took her to Holy Moly.
Okay.
All right. And the issue with girl number 2 is after they went on the date, there was 8-hour responses in terms of messaging.
Yes.
So that's basically where we were up to with Lloyd's dating situation at the time.
Yeah.
Now, I've had a couple of people message me giving me their thoughts on what happened next.
Yeah.
We've got one person saying that they reckon it didn't go anywhere and it literally stopped after that, after the 8-hour responses, and then it just stopped altogether.
Yeah.
Another person also said to me that they think that Lloyd went on one more date with the girl. It didn't end up being anything serious, and then they parted ways after that second date.
Okay.
Now, I'm here to give you an update on girl number 2.
Okay.
So
hold on.
after...
Can I take a quick guess?
Okay.
I'm going to guess.
Actually, yeah, give me your thoughts as well.
All right. And I'll tell you why. Firstly, my guess has got nothing to do with the story, but to do with how you've titled yourself this episode. I don't think you'd call yourself the love guru if things went absolute trash. So I'm thinking, and I'm hoping, for the benefit of Lloyd, that everything went well. So let's hear the update.
All right. Well, to give you the update, so after the first date with girl number 2 and then the 8-hour responses, it completely ended right there and then.
Oh. What the... Wait, is that the end of the story?
Well, no, not quite. There's a bit more. There's a bit more from there. So now look, this has nothing to do with the love guru.
Okay.
Because the reason I'm the love guru is because the date went absolutely fantastically.
Okay.
The issue was the aftermath after the date, the 8-hour responses, and it just wasn't working out,
Yeah.
But at least, they had a great date and they have both learned from that experience.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And that's all life is about.
Yeah. So that's the end of girl number 2. Then incoming comes girl number 3.
Ooh, okay.
So Lloyd has been messaging this girl. He hasn't met up with her due to, obviously, lockdown and whatnot.
Yep.
He's been messaging this girl now for actually a few months.
Whoa.
Yeah, but there's still a slight issue, similar to girl number 2.
Yeah.
Is that girl number 3 has about, a couple of hours between responses in messages.
Okay.
Now, we don't have too much of a follow-on from girl number 3, but what I want to hear from you is what do you think will happen with Lloyd and girl number 3 moving forward?
Okay, I've got a first question. With girl number 3, do you have any idea what the conversations are like? Is it long message, back and forth, or is it quick messages here and there?
Look, I've had a couple of screenshots sent through. I don't know exactly what they're speaking about.
Yeah. But like, let's say message length. Are they paragraphs length or are they one-liners?
Okay, I don't have any screenshots from girl number 3, so I can't confirm. I can't confirm that.
Wait, what were the screenshots you had?
That was from girl number 2.
Oh, okay.
It was about how long the delay in the messages were, and that was kind of the end of it after those messages.
Well, then I've got a couple theories. With girl number 3, it's either that they're having good conversations and the messages are long. So naturally you'd take, longer, more energy. You'd want to find the right time of day, to sit down and think about your reply and, respond to every aspect of the message. So that's right.
Why. But Lloyd, on that, Lloyd has also said to me, and I'll quote him here. He says, "She has an inability to respond instantaneously, and it drives me mental." End quote.
Okay, my second theory is that Lloyd may just be impatient.
Potentially, but he also said, and I'll quote this, "I must admit, I decided to try a different approach and not respond quickly. Then I forgot about it for like 5 days." So I messaged her after the 5 days, and then she responded within an hour. But at the same time, I can't be bothered playing games. Yeah. So then I said to him, which is what I've said publicly, what I said to you, what I've said live on the podcast, is that the whole games thing is absolute rubbish. Because if they don't like you for who you are from the start, then why would you try to even want to be with them anyway? Because it's probably not going to work out. They need to like you for who you are for it to work. But so look, just be who you are.
She might like him for who he is, and it's just a whole, I'll reply when I want to reply kind of sitch. But then,
yes. And the other thing is, being yourself can only go so far. I guess when you're in the initial stages, you have to kind of play yourself up a bit to stand out from the crowd, I guess.
Yeah. Look, it is a tough situation. I guess we'll find out more and more, better after they get to see each other. Let's see, maybe he'll take her to Holy Moly as well. And then we can see what the actual vibes are. Because there still may be a spark. It might just be so dim inside the, inside of the houses that the spark is just on its last remaining breath. But as soon as the two of them see each other, the spark will be extremely vibrant.
I love that analogy. I love it.
Thank you. That's why.
Because I completely agree. Because I feel like they do need to meet up and have a date. But obviously, with COVID and whatnot, it's been tough.
Exactly right. So I'm excited to hear the update after they actually meet, because I'm happy to be in suspense for whether it takes 2 hours, 8 hours, or 5 days. It's okay.
I'll definitely keep updated, and as the love guru, I've got to be Lloyd's voice of reason. So
that's true. And as love guru, it should work out if he's listening to you. Otherwise, I don't know if you should be calling yourself the love guru.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Now,
absolutely.
I've got another story, probably something I haven't spoken about really on the podcast before.
Okay.
So I actually play quite a bit of basketball.
Oh, no. You've spoken about this on the podcast many times. I think about 89% of our episodes are you talking about basketball. So you've definitely spoken about that on the podcast. I can't believe it.
That was a joke because I was speaking, because I was having, what this story is, I was having this conversation with someone in the car. And I said, you know what, I might bring this up on the podcast. and my friend said, oh, geez, Gaurav's going to love hearing you talk about basketball again.
I don't know. I think you've brought up you playing basketball more than I've tried to bring up bag share. So, and that's a lot of times. I'm trying to keep this idea alive. Bag share, if you don't remember it, go back to one of our older episodes. It was a first and genius idea, I'm pretty sure, or one of the second ones.
I think it was the first one.
Okay, well, look, besides the point, let's go back to your first ever mention about you playing basketball.
And just on that, the reason I know it was your first ingenious idea is because when you said that idea, I said to you, you can only improve from here.
Look, I'm going to take that as a backhanded compliment. Just like
it's not a compliment. It's basically just saying it's the dumbest idea I've ever had. Anyway, let's move on with this story. So, as I said, I play a lot of basketball. Now, due to coronavirus, we haven't been able to go to stadiums, obviously, to play games or even training or anything. So I've been playing a lot of outdoor basketball, and even before the coronavirus hit, probably for the last maybe 3 years, I've been actually playing a lot of outdoor basketball. Yep. I kind of prefer it. I like being outside.
Because you have the street rules, right? You can ball tend, you can... what do you call it? Goaltend. You can goaltend. You can tackle people. All those street rules. Is that why?
Yeah, you can hip and shoulder. You can ankle tap people.
That's the stuff.
Yeah. I mean, look, the only real difference I see with outdoor basketball is that, well, obviously it's weather dependent. You have to try and go on a non-windy day, ideally.
Yeah.
And it's always concrete, so it's a bit harder on the legs. But
yeah,
I just prefer it. I don't know. Something about being outdoors is just, I just like it.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I go and play outdoor basketball, I try to use different courts to kind of mix it up. You don't want to do the same thing all the time because you get sick of it.
Yeah.
So I kind of mix it up a bit. Now, the problem with outdoor basketball rings is that they're never, majority of the time, they're not the exact height of a proper ring. They're either a little bit high, a little bit low.
Yep.
Now, I've also been, ever since, I think it was end of April where daylight savings hits us and it starts getting dark at about 5:30.
Yeah.
So by the time you finish work, you don't really get a chance to play basketball. So I've always wished that there was a court nearby that had lights.
Yeah.
Now, a friend of mine actually told me about a month ago that, my friends messaged me on Instagram with this outdoor court where there's lights, and it's only about a 10-minute drive from where we live. And I thought, sweet. And then he's like, and then he messaged me on like a 6:30 on a Friday night. And we just went, and it was good. There was no one there, so it was absolutely perfect.
Were the lights there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a tennis court and a basketball ring, and there's lights. Now there's lights. It's solar lights as well, so they go off at about 8:30.
Okay, so it's got about
I guess it's depending on how sunny the day was.
Yeah.
But usually about 8:30, the lights will go till. So that's not too bad. Now, at this ring, when we first went there, I noticed straight away that the ring was a bit higher than regulation.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of adjust to it.
So as in, did you measure it with a measuring stick, or do you just know the height?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Firstly, I knew it was higher. You can just tell.
Yeah.
When
you play for as long as you have, you just know.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. For example, you play a lot of video games, right?
Yeah.
So if you get the tiniest bit of lag on your internet, you'll notice straight away.
Yeah. Good analogy.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So because I'm playing basketball all the time, if I'm 6 foot away from the ring, I just know how hard to shoot it.
Yeah.
And it would be short, and you could just tell when you walk up to the ring and look up. You're standing under the ring and you look up. You could just tell whether it's a bit higher or a bit lower than what it should be.
Yeah, of course.
And then I thought, about 2 weeks ago, you know what? From now on, I'm going to put a tape measure in my bag.
Yeah.
And I'm going to measure every outdoor ring before I start shooting, just so I know what I'm getting myself into.
Okay.
Because imagine I keep shooting at this ring. Now, this ring, by the way, is 7 centimeters higher than a regulation ring.
7 centimeters.
Yeah. So if you could imagine that, let's say I just kept shooting there and didn't even think that it was higher. I just got accustomed to it.
Yeah.
When games come back up and I start playing indoor in a real game, I'm going to start shooting too hard,
Yeah.
Because I'm used to the ring being that high.
Yeah.
So now what I do is I have a tape measure in my bag,
So every single ring I go to, I measure it before I start shooting, just so I know what I'm getting myself into. Like, I'll need to adjust to the ring, but at least I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I just like to know what I'm kind of
No,
doing.
no, that's actually a good plan. Because I was having the same thought in my mind as you were telling the story. Like, if you had never measured it, you have now adapted to that. Let's say you went to that basketball court every day to train. And then next minute, you're going to go back inside and then you're going to be airballing everything.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other reason I knew it was super high is because I was shooting. When we were in like pretty much complete lockdown, I was pretty much only allowed to be at my house or Caitlin's house. So I was shooting in her backyard, and her ring's like pretty low.
Yeah.
Her ring's definitely lower than regulation. So then as soon as I went to this outdoor court, which was higher than regulation, like it was a massive difference.
Yeah, yeah. So instead of being a 7 centimeter difference, it was like a 30 centimeter difference.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just exaggerating. I don't know.
Maybe not that much. Maybe even 15 centimeters.
So in regulation, how high is a regulated basketball ring?
It's exactly 10 foot.
Oh, and is that from the actual ring down to the ground?
Yeah.
10 foot, not bad. You could probably jump that with your height. As in dunk it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can dunk every now and then, depending on...
I mean, humble brag again about basketball. I think...
You brought it up.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's something
You've seen me dunk before.
You should be proud of it. Yeah, I've seen you dunk.
Back in high school days.
I have also dunked. We were shooting hoops at one of our friends' house, and then his brother came and pulled some lever on the basketball ring, and it dropped down half its height, and I could dunk every shot because I pretty much didn't have to jump because it was so low.
Damn,
it was a lot of fun.
Bro.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Now, the reason I bring this whole story up is I said to the guys, what if I email the council telling them that the ring is 7 centimeters higher than regulation, and sort of like, can you come down and maybe hammer this pole into the ground 7 centimeters so that we can get the ring regulation?
In theory, it sounds simple. Did you do it?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring it up with you first.
Okay.
What do you reckon they would? Do you reckon they would do it? And also, another question on that. One of the guys said, because we were discussing this, and he said, well, at the same time, why do they put up rings that aren't exact regulation height? Like, it's a pretty tough job to go, like, put all the effort in to actually install a basketball ring and the pole and everything.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd do a good job and actually do it the proper height.
Yeah. Look, it could just be it was planned to be the proper height. But you know when you plan something and you actually do it and then there's been issues. I mean, I've tried to do handyman stuff before and, you know, in my mind it looks like the greatest thing in the world. But the end product isn't really as good as I imagined. I mean, there could have just been like, I don't know, some concrete issue and then the concrete was risen an extra 7 centimeters, which it's a big number considering what we're measuring, but at the end of the day, it's not that huge of a number, but it also is significant considering what you're actually talking about.
Mm.
So, look, feel free to message them. I reckon they won't do anything about it because it's probably the least of their worries. But look, it just depends how good of a reputation the council has.
Yeah, well, that's right, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
I
don't
reckon
think they'll do anything,
you should.
But I reckon we should try it and see what happens.
We should try it, and it's something we should devs follow up because it could be interesting to hear back.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get onto that tonight, and then we'll see if they respond.
Good. You should send me the email. I can proofread it if you want a fresh set of eyes.
Sounds good. All right, now I've got another story for you.
Yes, bro.
Which has been a recurring story over the last couple of weeks. So
yeah.
I thought now's a good time than ever to sort of bring it up.
Yeah.
Now, I do my personal banking with a couple of different banks, but I do use Commonwealth Bank because of the ease of the app.
Okay,
and I believe you use the app as well. It's a pretty solid app, isn't it?
It's a great app. One of the best. I can't directly compare because I only really use one or two, but it's a great app.
Yeah, it's a solid app. Now, I do have notifications on my phone for, purchases and things like that. The reason I bring that up is because I woke up one morning and I had about four notifications from Commonwealth Bank of these purchases.
Yes.
And I thought, what the hell's going on here? And it said 2 purchases for 1 cent and another 2 purchases for, I think, $7.50. And I thought, what the hell is this? And the worst thing about this is I woke up at about 3 a.m. and saw these.
Yeah.
And went, oh, crap, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then somehow I managed to go back to sleep without looking at it. But
yeah.
That was pretty impressive because I always struggle to go to sleep. So
yeah,
I must have been super tired that day. But yeah. So the next morning, anyway, I wake up like when I actually need to wake up, and then I open my phone and I look at the description of these transactions.
Yeah,
and it says Amazon Code Japan.
Oh,
so
okay.
Clearly, someone's either hacked my bank account or my bank card.
Yeah.
And they've made a purchase to Amazon in Japan.
For 1 cent.
Well, two transactions were 1 cent, and then another 2 transactions were $7.50 each.
So in total, it was $15.02 hacked from your account.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Which, at the end of the day, I mean, who cares about $15? But obviously, there's an issue because there's something's been hacked there, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the money in this case. It's about someone's got your details and they have the potential to spend as much as they want.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So what I had to do was obviously call the bank and then, tell them the situation and, sort of freeze my card, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, the most random timing of this is that when I called them, they said, oh, I can see there's a new card on the way because your card's about to expire. Can you whip out your card and just check the expiry date? Anyway, the expiry date on my card was for like next month, right?
Yeah.
So it just so happened that there was already a new card on the way.
Yeah.
Now, the customer service person that I was speaking to said, okay, well, what I'm going to need to do is obviously someone's got your card details, so we need to cancel the card you're using, and we also need to cancel the card that's on the way.
Oh, GG.
And I thought, what? Firstly, that doesn't actually make sense. Because why do they need to cancel the new card that's on the way when that hasn't even been activated yet? Because you only activate that when you get it.
It could have the same numbers on the card.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't think it does, man.
There's been times where my renewed card was exactly the same numbers, but it was only the same numbers twice. And then the third time it got updated was a completely new card.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that could have been the reason.
Anyway, so they said they had to do that. And then they said, look, what we have to do is when you get that new card in the mail, you'll need to call us back and we'll need to essentially destroy that card and then order you a new card. So it's going to be a bit of a process for me to actually get a new card, right?
Yeah.
So in the meantime, obviously with coronavirus happening and whatnot, we're not really spending much money. So I mean, I've got another bank card, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
So I've just been kind of using my other bank card in the meantime.
Dude,
but at the same time, I'm not even buying anything.
On that same note, neither is this thief. He's just got his hands on someone's credit card details and only ends up spending $15. This has got to be the worst thief I've ever heard of. Oh, dude, I got someone's card details. I just made a 1 cent purchase. This is a failure of a thief. My God, imagine if this guy found the bag of $1 million. I don't know. He'd only take $1 out of it and keep it. This is the worst thief I've ever heard of. So,
I totally agree. But on the other hand, in his defense, I mean, obviously I hate the guy, but in his defense, because I always have to argue with you on the podcast, in his defense, he's obviously done a small purchase in the hopes that you won't notice it as much.
Yeah.
And then he can continue using it.
That's also possible.
Because I did get I did actually get an email from the bank after they did the inquiry to get it refunded, and it gave a bit more information, and it said Amazon code Japan, and then it said like a description underneath saying like membership or something like that. So they've obviously bought like Amazon Prime as a membership. So I feel like they've just done a small purchase because they're intending to continually use my card each month.
Yeah, that's
So I think that's why.
quite clever, actually, at the end of the day. But still,
not
the
gonna
worst
happen, buddy.
thief, yeah. bad luck on him.
Now, whilst I had no card at this point, randomly 2 days later, I woke up and I was going to work and I was trying to... Oh, that's right. I was trying to listen to some music on Spotify in the car, and it just stopped playing. And I thought, what the hell's going on here? And I would press play on the song, and it just wouldn't work. And then I realised my phone bill has been cut out because I'm on prepaid, so I actually have to pay it each month.
Yeah.
So the recurring bill didn't go through because my bank card was linked to my phone. Yeah. So I had to then go into my phone bill, and then I had to obviously put my new card details in, like my other card.
Yeah.
To sort out... Yeah, so I had to do that. Then later on that day, I bought some drinks and, we went out and played some basketball, bought some food and whatnot. Anyway, went to KFC afterwards, and I literally just got two of those Go Buckets.
Yeah.
And it was $7.90.
Yeah.
And my card declined.
Oh.
because it's the other card that I never use.
Yeah.
So I barely had any money on it, and I'd already been spending money on that card. And
that is absolutely
so I basically
classic.
got declined a $7.90 purchase, and obviously classic. I had to explain the story to the guy because I didn't want him thinking I was a bum. So I explained the whole story to him, and he was like a 16-year-old kid, and he's like, yeah, I feel you, man, yeah.
Oh, poor guy. At least he understood.
So that was funny. Anyway, a few days later, I think the next week, the card that was already on the way reached my house. So I called the bank and said that, all right, this is what's happened, blah, 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 so I need you to get me a new card. And then he said, sweet, cut up that one. I've ordered you a new one. It's going to be about 7 business days.
Yeah.
So, again, another week and a half without a card.
Yeah.
Anyway, literally 2 hours before recording today,
Yeah.
the new card comes in the mail.
Yep.
I open the card. It is just simply an FPOS card and not an actual debit card.
Oh no!
So I have to call the bank back, tell them that no, I actually need a debit card because if you only have an FPOS card, you can't use that for. You can only use that if you swipe it out of a machine. You can't use it for anything else.
It's not like a MasterCard or Visa or anything.
Exactly. Oh. So I said no. I actually need a debit MasterCard. So they said, oh look, I'm so sorry. Cut that one up. I've ordered a debit MasterCard. I've ordered a debit MasterCard to come out to you, and it'll be another 7 business days.
Dude,
it's going to be about another week and a half. After cutting up 3 cards, putting them in the bin, it's going to be another week and a half till I get a new bank card.
My God, this guy's caused you to destroy 3 cards. Oh, what a twist!
Honestly, I don't care about the $15. Take the $15.
Yeah.
Just don't give me this hassle. Honestly, the hassle is more than
that's
anything else.
That's the actual dread because you realize you have to go through all of this whole process. That's the actual dread. Like you're not like, oh my God, $15. You're like, oh my God, I have to call the bank and be on hold for 4 hours. That's what one is worried about.
Although I've got to say, I was never on hold for longer than 10 minutes, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, look, just one more reason that it's the best app out there.
Yeah. I mean, great customer service. And you know what? Talking about the hassle, that reminds me of another thing when I'm actually driving my car, right? And if someone's like full on tailgating me, and I'm like complaining to my, the passenger in like my car, I'm like, oh, this guy's bloody tailgating me. And then like, I'm always like looking in the rearview mirror because I'm like, all right, brake slowly so they don't hit me. And then people in the car are always like, oh, don't worry. If they hit you from behind, it's their fault, so you don't need to worry about it. I'm like, yeah, but then I have to go and do an insurance claim, give my car and get the car fixed. Like, yes, it's not going to cost me anything, but it's going to be a pain in the butt. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole hassle. And it's pretty much with like most minor car accidents, you're like, oh, it's just a hassle. It's just inconvenient.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got to get another car to drive in the meantime. Oh,
yeah.
It's just a pain.
I mean, it fits under first world problems. It fits perfectly under first world problems.
Yeah, it actually does, actually.
Like,
good
now
point.
I've got to sort out my safe money that I have.
Oh, no, I'm going to have to pull out that 50K that I buried when I found that $1 million that time.
Oh, too good. Well, good on this guy in Japan. Like, well, for being the worst thief ever. Hopefully,
man, the hustle's real. He's probably poor. He's probably struggling. Yeah. So,
look,
you know what? I said I hate the guy, but I guess I don't hate him too much. It is what it is.
Yeah. Even though he's a bad thief, as you say, he can only improve from here on. Whether that's become a better thief or become a better person, it's one or the other. So let's hope he finds his way.
Honestly, if you're struggling, rather than stealing my card details, ask me for $15.
That's not where I expected to go, but he's a generous man. He bought 5 people the full version of Trivia Crack, so I can vouch, and that equals to about $15. I can vouch for him.
Yeah. Well, look, 7 business days I'll get my card, but the good news is I've already got the money refunded, so all in all, made for a good story, I guess.
Oh, yep. Great experience. And thank you guys so much for tuning in this week once again to the So Far So Good podcast.
We appreciate you tuning in as always. Now, hit up our Instagram for more, updates and photos, and there'll be a few more polls coming out in the next few weeks. But yeah, we will, as usual, catch you on the next episode.
Goodbye.
Oh, welcome back to the So Far So Good podcast. I can hear a dog barking.
Yeah, I was just about to say. Oh, mate. That should be the actual intro. Well, it says it in character as well.